42% of American adults are clinically obese, not overweight, obese. The country has spent $388 billion on weight loss products and services in 2026 alone. Ozempic, originally a diabetes drug, is now prescribed for weight loss at $1,000 a month. And when you stop taking it, you regain two-thirds of the weight. Studies consistently show that 80 to 95% of people who lose weight on any diet regain it within 1 to 5 years. The industry is not failing despite the money. It is failing because of how the money is spent on treating a symptom with products instead of addressing the behavior that causes it. Japan has an obesity rate of 3 to 4%. Okinawa, before the Western diet arrived, had an even lower rate than many mainland Japan. The Okinawa Centenarian Study documented that our elders maintained a BMI between 18 and 22 for their entire lives. They consumed 1,800 to 1,900 calories per day, compared to the American average of 2,500 or more. They experienced virtually no age-related weight gain, and they never counted a calorie, weighed a portion, or followed a diet program in their lives. They did one thing differently. Before every meal, every day for centuries, they said three words, a phrase rooted in Confucian teaching that arrived in Okinawa through the Ryukyu kingdom and never left. It takes 3 seconds to learn. It costs $0, and it has kept an entire population lean for 500 years, while the richest country on earth spent $388 billion failing to do the same thing. The weight loss industry is not designed to solve obesity. It is designed to manage it permanently, profitably. With recurring revenue, Weight Watchers charges $23 to $45 per month. Noom charges $60 per month. Jenny Craig charged up to $600 per month before it went bankrupt in 2023. A weight loss company that could not sustain itself, selling a weight loss program that could not sustain its customers. The business model across the entire industry is identical. Get you to lose weight fast enough that you believe it is working, then watch you regain it slowly enough that you blame yourself instead of the product, then resubscribe. The scientific literature confirms this at scale. A UCLA meta-analysis reviewed 31 long-term diet studies and concluded that the majority of dieters regain or lost weight within 5 years, and a significant proportion end up heavier than before they started. Dieting is one of the strongest predictors of future weight gain. The industry knows this. The data has been published for decades, and the business model has not changed because the failure is the business model. Now add Ozempic. Semaglutide for weight loss costs $935 to $1,000 per month without insurance. It works. Patients lose 15 to 20% of body weight over 68 weeks. But a 2024 study confirmed that patients who discontinue semaglutide regain approximately two-thirds of the lost weight within 1 year. It is not a cure. It is a pharmaceutical subscription with a $1,000 monthly fee that you must pay for the rest of your life or lose the result. $388 billion. Apps, pills, shakes, injections, memberships, coaching, surgery. And the obesity rate has not dropped in a single year since they started measuring it. Meanwhile, a three-word phrase spoken before every meal on a small island in the Pacific has maintained a population BMI of 18 to 22 for 5 centuries at a cost of zero. Hara Hachi Bu. It means eat until you are 8 parts out of 10 full, not satisfied, not stuffed, not finished, just no longer hungry. The phrase comes from a Confucian teaching that entered Okinawa through the Ryukyu Kingdom trade routes centuries ago. It is spoken before meals, the way some cultures say grace, but it is not a prayer. It is a neurological instruction, a deliberate signal to the brain that primes it to monitor fullness instead of chasing satisfaction. Here is why it works. When you eat, your stomach stretches and sends signals through the vagus nerve to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus then triggers the release of leptin and cholecystokinin, hormones that tell your brain you are full. But this process takes approximately 20 minutes from the first bite. 20 minutes. If you eat a typical American meal, fast, distracted, standing at the counter, or staring at a screen, you have consumed far more than you need before your brain ever receives the message to stop. Harahachi Bu solves this by changing the target. You are not eating until full. You are eating until not hungry. That distinction sounds philosophical, but it is mechanical. Comfortable means you could eat more, but choose not to. Full means your stomach is physically stretched. By the time you feel full, you have already overeaten by 15 to 20%. Every meal, every day, for decades. That is how a population gains weight gradually without ever feeling like it is overeating. The Okinawa Centenarian study documented that traditional Okinawans consumed 10 to 20% fewer calories than the Japanese national average, roughly 1,800 to 1,900 calories per day. They were not starving. They were not restricting. They were stopping 20% earlier than their biology would have otherwise allowed, because a cultural phrase intervened before the hormonal signal arrived. The NIH funded a landmark study called calorie, comprehensive assessment of long-term effects of reducing intake of energy, which is the most rigorous human trial of moderate caloric restriction ever conducted. They found that a sustained 12% reduction in caloric intake improved cardiovascular biomarkers, reduced oxidative stress, improved insulin sensitivity, and showed signs of slowed biological aging at the muscular and metabolic level. 12%. That is less than what Hara Hachi Bu achieves naturally. The difference is that calorie required clinical supervision, nutritionists, meal planning, and constant monitoring. Hara Hachi Bu requires 3 words and a decision to put your fork down 2 minutes earlier than you normally would. But Hara Hachi Bu has a partner that most people never hear about. And without this partner, the rule alone wouldn't produce the results it does. The partner is caloric density, the amount of calories packed into a given volume of food. And this is where the Okinawan diet does something that no Western diet program has ever replicated successfully. 100 grams of sweet potato, the food that comprised 60% of the traditional Okinawan diet, contains 86 calories. 100 grams of white rice contains 130. 100 grams of bread contains 265. 100 grams of cheeseburger contains 295. 100 grams of pepperoni pizza contains 266. The foods that make up the base of the American diet are 2 to 3 times more calorically dense than the foods that make up the base of the Okinawan diet. This means an Okinawan elder can eat until she is physically satisfied, stomach full, hunger gone, pleasure complete, and consume 1,800 calories. An American eating until the same level of physical satisfaction from calorically dense foods will consume 2,800 to 3,200 calories. Same stomach, same volume, almost double the energy intake. You do not need willpower to eat less when the food itself contains less. You do not need to count calories when the calories are structurally low. The Okinawan diet makes overeating nearly impossible, not by restricting how much you eat, but by changing what you eat. The format reinforces this. Traditional Okinawan meals are not served on one large plate. They arrive as 4 to 5 small dishes on a tray: soup, vegetables, protein, starch, pickle. Each dish is served in a bowl no larger than 6 inches across. The visual effect is abundance. 5 dishes looks like a feast, but the total caloric content of those 5 dishes is often less than a single American entree, and the sequence matters. Soup comes first. A study at Penn State led by Barbara Rose found that starting a meal with a broth-based soup reduces total caloric intake for that meal by 20% because the warm liquid activates stretch receptors in the stomach before the main course arrives. Our grandmothers didn't read that study. They just always started with miso soup. The science explained what the culture already knew. Hara Hachi Bu tells you when to stop. The food tells you how little you need to eat before that stop arrives. The two mechanisms together create a system where calorie counting is not just unnecessary, it is redundant. Tonight, before you eat dinner, say the words Hara Hachibu. Say them out loud. It sounds absurd. Do it anyway. You are not performing a ritual. You are setting an instruction in your brain before the food arrives. You are telling your hypothalamus to pay attention. Then do 4 things differently. First, use a smaller plate. If your dinner plates are 10 to 12 inches across, and most American plates are, go to any store and buy a set of 6-inch plates. They cost a few dollars. This single change has been shown in multiple studies to reduce intake by 15 to 20% without any sensation of deprivation. Your brain judges portion size by how full the plate looks, not by how many calories are on it. A full small plate satisfies you. A half empty large plate makes you feel cheated. Same food, different psychology. Second, start every meal with soup. A bowl of miso soup takes 5 minutes to make, or any broth-based soup, chicken broth with vegetables, anything warm and liquid. That 20% reduction in meal intake documented by Penn State starts working the moment the first spoonful hits your stomach. Third, put your fork down between every bite. This is not a mindfulness exercise. It is a speed limiter. The 20-minute leptin delay means that the slower you eat, the less you consume before your brain catches up. Okinawan meals last 30 to 40 minutes. The average American meal lasts 11 minutes. That 20-minute gap is where all the excess calories hide. Fourth, swap one starch per day. Replace the bread, pasta, or white rice in one meal with a baked sweet potato. You will eat the same volume of food with 35 to 50% fewer calories, not less food, less dense food. Your stomach will not know the difference. Your waistline will. No subscription, no app, no injection, no willpower. beyond the decision to stop 2 minutes earlier than your body tells you to. Total cost: a bag of sweet potatoes and a set of smaller plates. The weight loss industry will sell $388 billion worth of products this year. Apps that track your macros, shakes that replace your meals, injections that cost $1,000 a month and stop working the moment you stop paying. And the obesity rate will not drop by a single percentage point. It has not dropped once since they started measuring it. Not once. On our island, we never tracked the macro. We never replaced the meal. We never injected anything. We said 3 words before dinner, ate from small plates, started with soup, and stopped when we were comfortable instead of full. We ate sweet potatoes instead of bread. We cooked at home instead of ordering out. And we maintained a BMI of 18 to 22 for 100 years without spending a single dollar on weight loss. Then the American military bases arrived. The fast food chains followed. Our children stopped saying hara, hachi, boo. They started eating like Americans, and Okinawa went from the leanest prefecture in Japan to the most obese in one generation. That is the proof, not just that the system works, but that the moment you stop using it, it stops protecting you. 3 words, 3 seconds, $0. The longest running weight management system in human history is available to you right now. Say them before your next meal. Hara hachi boo.